I was on the 7th hole, completing the 7th hole, and we saw an airplane coming down at a fairly low altitude. The propellers had obviously stopped, and I was trying to land, and it clipped a tree, and essentially landed in a fairly violent manner on its belly right after clipping the tree. Well, listen, when my initial fear was that this was going to be one of those really just very serious, very tragic injuries right away, and fortunately he was remarkably intact. I mean, he had soft tissue injuries that you'd expect, but he was intact, and I was very optimistic by the time the paramedics and fire department came, because I was able to assess him, and I made some basic observations that he was stable. He looked pretty good. He was conscious. He was you know, as you'd imagine, he'd be moaning a little bit and kind of where am I, and saying, you know, some statements of that nature. But he was alert. He's moving things, and you know, he wasn't. Considering what had happened, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. He had a lot of soft tissue injury. There was a lot of you know, blood in his scalp. He had a major scalp injury. He was obviously in pain. When you fall from that height, you're going to have some musculoskeletal injuries, and I knew he had some. I couldn't tell. He didn't have any open injuries of bones sticking out of any extremities, but he was clearly traumatized. You know, I approached him from the rear portion of his. He was seated, facing forward. I approached him from the back, and his head was slumped over. But once we extracted and put him on the ground, and we were kind of stabilized there, just assessing him, I think that's when we got to realize that it was Harrison Ford.